It's 10 p.m. in 𝗀𝗃𝗃, west of Pretoria. A security guard we'll call 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀 to protect his identity is on call and about to go on patrol. It's a quiet night, but the silence is deceptive. Something he knows all too well. In these parts, danger lurks in the shadows.
And all over
Here, under the cover of darkness, violent gangs are on the prowl for copper, used extensively in electric cables and in high demand on the black market. They'll stop at nothing to get their hands on it. These days, the thugs aren't even satisfied with the copper cable. They stay hidden in the shadows, waiting for emergency technicians to arrive before robbing them of anything from replacement cables to the cars they arrive in. After being hit by a wave of opportunistic robberies and assaults on its staff, Eskom contracted the security company 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀 works for. But that's given the gangs another target, the guns carried by the security escorts.
Control.
Eskom recorded 85 attacks on security contractors from April 2021 to March this year. Cable theft is not a new crime, but it is getting worse. And there's something different about this crop of criminals. They're organized, they're heavily armed, and they will stop at nothing to get what they want. Eskom employees, as well as those from Johannesburg's energy distributor City Power, are under attack. And while millions are spent on additional security, it's impossible to provide an armed escort for every technician on call-out duty. So, priority is given to staff on the night shift and those working in secluded areas during the day. In late May, this technician we'll call Lerato responded to a morning call-out in what is considered a low-risk area. She was working alone and without a security escort.
It was a normal day. Very clear, everything was going smooth for me.
It wouldn't stay that way for long.
They came two men. The other came behind me, the other one was in front. They forced me to go inside the buggy. They say they want the bag. I said, no, leave me and take the bag. The other one said to me, no. We said, go inside the bag. You want us to shoot you.
The men forced her back into the buggy. When the car eventually stopped, she realized what her captors were after. They demanded the PIN number for her bank card. While one man kept watch, another emptied her bank account. Lerato, still in the buggy, silently prayed for her life to be spared.
That day I thought it's my last day on earth.
But she was dumped on the side of the road, her assailants making off with the vehicle, equipment, cell phones, and tragically, her savings. It wasn't always this way, says 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀. Criminals used to abandon their loot and scatter at the first sight of armed security guards. Now, they're the first to strike. A stark reality he faced just a few months ago when he and his partner faced off with an angry mob.
The community, technician,
with his partner focused on the technicians and 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀 scanning the growing crowd, neither noticed three armed men sneaking up on them from behind. He believes the criminals are part of a syndicate in the area. These days, it seems the criminals are better organized than the security teams trying to stop them. Ted Blom is an energy and utilities strategist who studied cable theft trends.
You get segregation of duties like you get in the company. The other guy's in charge of logistics, a truck that's ready to run. Somebody else is maybe a watchman or whatever with a gun even sometimes.
In February in Soweto, 7 security guards confronted around 30 armed cable thieves. In the shootout that followed, 1 guard was killed. In Johannesburg's Kaya Sands, just 2 months later, another security guard died in a hail of bullets. Then, in yet another incident earlier this year, 2 guards were shot in Johannesburg's Newtown area while escorting a vehicle transporting copper cables. The horrific attack was captured on a dash cam. This image is from the end of the blood-curdling attack. It shows the guards' lifeless bodies riddled with bullets, slumped in their vehicle. The footage from moments before is too graphic, but it shows the men trapped in their seats, utterly defenseless, as their attackers fire indiscriminately.
It was under this bridge here in Newtown where 2 security guards were gunned down execution style while they were doing their patrols. But these men were more than security guards. They were breadwinners who were loved by their families, who've now been left devastated.
City Power is now at the criminals' mercy, at a loss over how to respond to their new MO. That's despite spending more than 100 million rands on security each year and doubling the number of security guards. We caught up with its spokesperson, 𝗧𝗵𝗶𝘀, near a substation known as a hotspot for cable theft and related crime.
We've got a lot of substations, I think almost 300 substations across the city of Johannesburg. We've got also about 17,000 kilometers of underground and overhead cables. So it will be difficult for us to basically ensure that we police each and every kilometer of that kind of infrastructure.
Since July last year, City Power has filed more than 1,400 reports of vandalism and cable theft. Among that number were incidents targeting the technicians and their security escorts. As cable theft and related crimes grow across the country, Power Utility Eskom isn't being spared. 𝗬𝗫𝗄𝗃 is Senior Manager for Maintenance and Operations.
Would you say that because it's increasing and it's happening on a daily rate, you actually don't have hold of the situation?
I will not necessarily say that, but at the same time, we also need to understand that as engineers, our work is limited to engineering work. Now, security...
These criminals are forcing you to pivot into security.
Security is not necessarily our mandate. We do have departments that deals with safety and security. We're just doing that as an add-on just to make sure that our employees are protected.
It seems Eskom and City Power are fighting a losing battle, being outnumbered by criminals who are heavily armed and willing to kill. But where are the police in all of this?
The SA Chamber of Commerce and Industry estimates cable theft costs the country between 5 billion rands and 7 billion rands a year. In June, the South African Police Service identified 18 infrastructure theft hotspots around the country. Special task teams are being set up in these areas, and top of their agenda is cable theft and related crimes.
We have seen a little move. I can say we have moved a little in terms of the number of arrests that we are making due to this cable theft. We have actually in the past, last month, in July alone, we had about 35 suspects that were arrested due to this cable theft.
The SAPS declined an on-camera interview for the story, but promised to respond to our questions in writing. We're still awaiting their reply.
The president has signed a gazette that bans the export of scrap metal. So he's hoping to plug that hole, and that should cut demand. And if there's no demand, well, then hopefully the metal theft will stop.
But what, if anything, can companies like Eskom and City Power do beyond contracting specialist security firms?
They need to look at alternative technology, early warning systems on the actual infrastructure itself, so that they can warn you early if there's been any tampering with any of the equipment. You can then dispatch either a drone to go and pictures of whatever's going on. And then secondly, if you've got the drone there, it's giving you aerial surveillance.
We do come with technologies to try and mitigate for the theft of underground cables. We install detecting devices underground.
For now, though, the cable theft syndicates are running rampant, and workers like 𝗀𝗶𝗄𝗃 clock in each day, wondering if it'll be their last.
Aginya ko nahelo tule ke nyako ke le hadisi.